Hi, I'm Chris Bailey, and in this tutorial we're going to be looking at how to use procedural animation to bring your renders to life. Now, this tutorial today is brought to you by BugBots, the new course that I've got on cgcookie.com. It's worth checking out. Go have a look. The links are in the description below. In that course, I'm going to walk you through how to make these three really cool, super detailed, photorealistic miniature insect robots. We're going to focus on projection mapping and how to do detailed modeling, how to create materials using procedural textures and photographic textures, and how to combine them really well. We're going to talk about lighting, we're going to talk about rendering, we're going to talk about putting it all together to get these really cool little miniature robots. And what's really great about this course is it's all based around the idea of creating a kit bash kit that you can reuse. And we do that through the course. We build this kit bash kit and we reuse it over and over again to create these different robot variations. And it's a kit bash kit that you can use on anything. So if you want to learn how to do something like that or learn how to make these images, please head over to cgcookie.com and sign up and check out the course. It's really, really cool. So what we're going to be doing is I'm going to actually taking one of the final renders from that course, the final section, chapter 4, the solar fly, which make this solar powered butterfly robot. And I'm going to show you how you would take a still image like this and render it with some animation. And we're going to create the animation using procedural techniques. Now, what do I mean by procedural techniques? When you have things like this leaf, for example, that the fly is standing on, when you hit play on in your timeline and get playback, it's going to feel very static. It will not feel alive. And when you really look at a leaf, there's always a little bit of wind or something making it move ever so slightly. And that kind of detail can be very, very time consuming to animate, especially over a long timeline. So we can use procedural techniques to create motion on objects like this leaf in a way that requires not a lot of input on our part, but can result in really nice dynamic animation that can last for a really long timeline animation. So we're going to apply these techniques to the environment and to the butterfly itself. And we're going to talk about how to do that in your own projects. So let's jump into it. First thing I want to do is I'm going to create some procedural motion on this leaf. So I'm going to select the potted plant leaf and I'm going to come down to the wrench icon and I'm going to add modifier. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a displacement modifier to create some motion. And this is a really great technique for creating animation on objects. So I'm going to click search here and I'm going to grab the displacement modifier and our plant will get morphed horribly and disappear into a giant ball of horror. But that's okay. We're going to click new to create a new texture. And I'm going to click this little button to jump down to the texture tab, which is right down here at the bottom. I'm going to switch this from image or movie to, let's see, we'll go clouds. And I'm going to take the size way up. So I'm just going to drag this all the way up to 2. That will make the noise pattern really big. Now I'm going to go back up to the wrench and I'm going to take the strength right down. I'm going to go something like 0.001. And that will reduce the effect way, way, way down until it's no longer making everything go nuts, but it's just having a little bit of change. Now, there's no animation out of doing something like that, but this procedural noise that we're using to drive the displacement is actually a three-dimensional noise. So think of it as like this cloudy haze that sits in our scene, and wherever the leaf intersects that haze, the black and white values of that haze, the density or the transparency of that haze are what are shaping this displacement. Okay, so it's like the leaf is intersecting this 3D space, and wherever it intersects, it looks at the values and just creates these little distortions in its shape. What we can do is we can tell it to use the coordinates of not a local space, but an object, a specific object in the scene. So if we switch this to object and then create an empty in the scene. So we're going to come over here, we're going to go Shift A and create a plane axis empty. I'll just bring it over here so you can see it. All right, so this empty right here, we're going to grab this. So it's just called empty. So I'm going to come back to my leaf and I will type in empty, and there it is, and I'll select the empty here. Now, if you watch, wherever we move this, if I grab Z and move it up, it's going to cause that noise, that huge field of noise, to move up with the empty. And as it moves up, new parts of it intersect the leaf, which cause a change in the displacement. And that gives us this really cool effect of wind blowing and causing that leaf to have a little bit of ripple. Now, in order to make this just proceed to move up indefinitely, we're going to put a driver into the Z position of this empty. So I'm going to click right here, and we could right click, add driver, and go through the process of adding a driver, add driver, and we get the driver menu. We can add in an expression here and do all kinds of stuff, but there's actually a shorthand, easy way to do it. We can actually just click in the property, delete the value, and then hit the hashtag, and then type in frame. And hashtag in Blender, when you put it into one of the input fields, is sort of like a shorthand way of telling Blender that you're creating a driver. And it will automatically create a driver wherever you have that hashtag symbol. And I'm going to type frame, and this is also sort of a built-in variable in Blender that will automatically grab the frame number on the playhead, the timeline. So I'm going to do frame, and I'm going to slow it right down because moving it up at the same rate as the frame rate is going to be really fast. But I'll show you that first. I'll just hit frame here, and if I hit play, you can see the leaf has got quite a lot of motion. It's more like a rainstorm right now. But we need to slow it down because we have a gentle breeze. So I'm going to add some math to this. After the built-in variable frame, I'm going to hit the multiplication sign and then 0.01, just to make it a smaller value so it won't move up as fast. Now I've got a really subtle effect. In fact, it's probably a little too subtle. So I'm going to go 0.1, and that's pretty nice. That looks good. It's got a nice gentle kind of undulation to it. The size of it is a bit too big, I think. So these undulations are kind of moving a little too much. I feel like I should see the fly moving with it, but I don't want that. So I'm going to go back over to the plant, go to the wrench, and under the strength, I'm just going to turn it down a little bit. So I'm going to go 0.5 there at the end, and that will, yeah, bring it right down. Now it's this really subtle, nice, dynamic motion. And what's really cool is it's affecting the whole plant. And the whole plant is creating these variations in the light patterns. And so there's some slight changes here in the shadows across the rocks at the back, which is a really nice added bonus. Okay, now that's one method for creating procedural animation. Let's look at another. So I'm going to grab this wing element. I've got all the components here for the wing parented to this object here, this hinge that's kind of sticking out of the back. And I'd like to create some procedural animation for these wings. So let's do that. I'm going to add some rotation on the X rotation. So I'm going to go to the Object Properties panel. I'm going to come over to the rotations, and I'm just going to click here to add a keyframe, just one keyframe to this rotation on the X. Doesn't matter where it is. It could be anywhere on your timeline. But as long as we got one key on it, it will activate this system. So now I'm going to go over to the graph editor by hitting Control Tab. And I'll just open it up, and you can see we've got the X rotation Euler here as a field in the action of our bracket. So I'm going to hit A to select all and full stop to focus on that key. And here it is. And you can see there's no animation whatsoever. But if we click on the channel, we get some extra options over here on the right. And one of these is modifier. Now, there's several different built-in modifiers that you can use on your curves. So if you have animation of something, you can add these onto it, and it will really enhance the feel of the shot. So we're going to use these to generate some random motion to the wing. Okay, so first let's have a look at a couple of the different options. We can have the built-in function, and this will give us things like a sine wave. And if I click additive, it will add the sine values onto the existing value of that rotation. So I've got this rotation set just where I want it. So I just want to add and subtract a little bit from it to get this sort of back and forth butterfly motion. So you can see here, I've got my original key value, and then we see the affected curve based on this built-in sine function. And I can reduce the amplitude. We can just go right down to like maybe 0.01. And I'll just expand the size of my timeline here with Control middle mouse. So I'm doing that. And we can see how this looks. I'm just going to press play. You can see we've got this back and forth motion. It's a bit too fast, so I might take the phase multiplier right down to 0.01. And I could take the amplitude up a bit as well. Now you can see this nice drifting kind of motion. Maybe 0.1, make it a little bit faster. You can have it going back. We can also add it kind of a bit of a randomness to it. So we could keep this sine wave, and we could add in another one. We could say, let's add some noise to this as well. And I'm going to turn the scale of that noise up and the strength way down. And the strength is going to create these little wobbles, right? And the scale spaces those wobbles out. You can see here now we've got this distorted curve. And that's going to create these little variations, which kind of almost give it a mechanical feel, which is quite nice. I like that a lot. I might turn that scale up a bit further. Awesome. Now, if I want to copy this over to the other wing, for example, I don't have to redo all the work. I can come over here and just select the other bracket. And well, first I can go to my bracket. And what I can do is I can come over here and I can say, all right, I'm going to copy these modifiers by clicking this little button here. See the little arrow pointing at a clipboard? So that copies the modifiers. Now if I come over to the other side, I can click this and I can set a key on the X to activate this. I can select the X rotation channel, and then I can click the paste button, which is the one that points down. And now I can have both of these wings doing the same action, which is really cool. And that's kind of good for butterfly wings. You want them to be in unison, right? But if I wanted to offset it, if it was something that needed to have different type motion, I could come over here and change the phase. So the phase changes sort of when it happens. So I can come over here and offset. You can see the phase changes the timing. And now they're going to change like that. So I'm just going to undo all those. Okay, so now we can add a little bit of animation to the head just to get it to like look around a little bit. So let's grab some of this headpiece here. And I just want it kind of looking around like this, like on the Z rotation. So just have a look at the rotations. See that this one here is the main one that I'm interested in. So I'm going to throw a key onto that and have a look at the graph. So here's the key in the graph editor. Let's bring this up a little bit more for us. And I'm going to add, let's try a noise. And what I'm going to do with this one this time is I'll expand the scale out and take the strength down. He's like really turning his head a lot, right? But what we can do with this is I can come here and I can add in a limits. And I can set some minimum and maximum values for the different rotations. So I want to say I'm going to have a minimum on the Y, which is up and down. So I will take, maximum. So go max and min, and I'll just drag these up a little bit. Now what this is going to do is create these flat zones where if the scale or the strength gets big enough, it's going to push past the minimum and maximums. And we'll have these nice hold frames. Like that. And we can extend the scale out. Nice robotic feel to it. That's really cool. We've added some really cool little procedural animation effects to our character, but now let's talk about the camera. How could we enhance the camera move? Well, let's add a camera move to this real quick. So I'm going to select my camera. And I'm going to set a key. I want this to be my in frame because I really like the way this looks. I might just run this to frame 200. So I'll set a key for my camera, rotation and location. And then I'm going to go back to the beginning. And I think what I'll do is just pivot a little bit. So I might just make sure I'm in local and I'm going to grab X, the camera, and just come around like this and then rotate on the Y and then rotate on the X, just kind of framing him up. Maybe we'll pull back a little bit as well. And I'll just fix my clipping plane. Just set a key there for the location rotation on my camera. And I'll come here and I'll just increase my clipping plane just to cut those leaves out of the way. And I'm going to also take all my keys for the camera and I'm going to right click and set it to linear. So it's just a straight move the whole time. So I got this nice subtle push in now. Now, maybe going a bit tighter. See the effect. Kind of center up around the head a little bit better. See how that looks. Yeah, some really nice subtle push in. But now I want to give the camera a bit of handheld dynamic motion. So what I can do for that is the same technique that we were using on the wings and everything, but now we're going to just put it on the camera. So I can come here to the X and Y and Z rotation, and I can add a modifier here, give it a noise, increase the scale, so it's real slow, and then decrease the strength. So I want this strength to be really, really small. So I'm just going to take it right down, maybe 0.01. And we'll see how that feels. Yeah, so just got this little bit of drift. It's kind of slow. I can increase the complexity of it by increasing the depth. That'll create a little bit of extra motion. I'll need to expand the scale out further. Looks good. Now I can copy this, come to the X rotation and paste it. But now right now this is going to match the exact same motion of the Y, which I don't want. So I'm going to use the offset. I'm just going to drag this way over. So now it's totally different. Now I'll do the same thing. I'll copy this and paste it on the Z rotation as well. And I'll take the offset and I'll just go way over with it. So it's just a different set of values. And there we go. We've got a really nice handheld camera feel. This looks really cool. Awesome. Well, I hope you learned a lot in this tutorial about how you can add procedural effects to your animation to really bring it to life quite easily over a long timeline. And I hope you use these tools in your own projects to create some really cool things. And again, please check out the BugBots course on cgcookie.com today and get started making your own miniature robot bugs. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. See you later.